I'm the Proverbs Guys president, and Gemma is the gatekeeper to keep me halfway sane. I'm in love with Jesus Christ, and since 1981, when God delivered me from the darkness into the light. And we're here to tell you that we love for you guys to listen to our shows on Proverbs Guys on Sundays. I do a designer talk showing the intelligent, designly creatures, plants, universe that is evidence, just evidence. It is evidence of a designer, or if it's evidence, I don't see how it can be of undesigned process, but because we see the material universe is better with the designer. We are helpers at a ministry in Gemma's hometown of the Philippines. Beautiful place, beautiful people, and a lot of poor people though that we help out. Thank you everybody for watching Proverbs Guys Ministry. Jan Pozzi and First Lady Gemma out.
Pozzi.
I really like that intro, brother.
That was awesome. Our tech guy, whoever he is, should get more money.
Well, he just left before you said that, so.
Oh, haha, good. Because we could each give him a quarter, and he'd get more money than he's getting already.
Right. Well, if you triple his salary, I mean, I bet he'd really appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Well, welcome everybody to
0 still 0.
Yeah, I'm good at that math. Welcome everybody to Proverbs Guys Ministries. Second or third week here on Restream. So just as I was kind of getting used to the other streaming service, see that I can't even talk, service, Steven goes and gives me another twist. And it'd be easier to do this if Maxine wasn't trying to get petted, the wonder dog. So here we are. I have inspiration today. Thank you, Rich. You had mentioned you had some things on birds, and then I just, as I usually do, started going through videos. And as people know, I'm easily amused, and we have a couple clips that are evolution ones, and I'll wait to comment then. But it's just amazing, Rich. I don't know if you saw it, how creatures learn and add to their skills, which I thought was more of a design principle, but I guess in undirected evolution, they use our same language. They use the language of creation, intelligent designer. So it's fun. Can't do it, I guess, without it. And I'll get rid of that. I don't know why we got those double things over there. Doesn't matter. Sorry, people. I'm commenting on the lack of knowledge on what I'm actually doing here. But Rich, you came up with, you said a couple of videos. And
I made a few animations and found a couple videos on Lyft. And it just kind of struck me as that there's no way that it evolved. If it took millions and millions of years for a bird to evolve the ability to fly, that there are so many flaws and so many holes that show that it's not possible, because the thing obviously would have been eaten. For example, if you look at an airplane or a proper flying vehicle with wings, the center of lift that it gets from the wings needs to be set just behind the center of mass of the vehicle in order for stable flight. I have some animations explaining how the lift of wings work, and and then I made a couple animations using a simulator showing you how um, unstable a vehicle would be if it's not positioned correctly.
Well, and I would say I'll give the evolutionary commentary because, of course, it started those little teeny dinosaur legs that are kind of in front, and
Hmm.
then the first set of wings popped out about the fraction of small increments over deep time, and so every time they jumped out of a tree or climbed off and up a cliff and jumped off, they died. But eventually, the wings got to the right place. Kind of like, come on, and we can see that in in nature. You got those guys, they put on they glue wet feathers to a wing looking structure and jump off a roof. And see, the species finally got to where we could fly, right?
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading some messages from Steven. Justin was trying to stream at the same time, which we thought he could. But it turns out he can't. So he's going to try to delay for 45 minutes, it looks like.
Well,
But
very good.
in response,
Nothing we need to know. You got to
uh,
listen to the president, not listen to the tech guy.
you're
Come
right.
on now. All
You're
my
right.
wisdom is thrown out because you are no good. So we'll be quick. That is good because I was first delayed. We went to a church meeting. They're trying to make leaders out of the old folks, and so it was really interesting actually. First, our church did it with younger people, and trying to get train the next generation. They go, well, why don't we have a training for the older folks, and that's me as one of them. So we went to that. That was actually very insightful, but at the same time, they have to put up with me. Okay, they don't have to, but they do for some reason.
Yeah,
Lane,
in response to the questions you were asking earlier, if they died, how would it be able to stay alive before it figured out how to fly?
okay, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Oh, well,
That is
okay.
number one Wizard of Oz insight for the atheist and those who think God used such a awful system as evolution to do anything. I've got to train you better, Richard. My co-host has to be on board with how evolution works. Okay, we're joking here. We're having fun for our.
Well, I mean, the first time I stream on my channel, also, I got to make myself look like an idiot so you can be the brains of the operation, right?
Okay, we'll go with that. That sure is the switching of roles, but we'll go with that. I'll be good at that because it'll make you really look like an idiot if you're less than me. So, let's do this thing. Did you want to start with yours?
We could. Let me. Let's see here. Hopefully the internet doesn't lag out. I'm gonna try to share this 12-minute thing on Bernoulli's principle and how lift works. Hopefully, let me know if it is all choppy and doesn't work.
Okay. Here we go. Drum roll. Brrr. Oh, we don't have those things anymore, I don't think. Cameras.
Maybe. Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name's Jamila. I'm an explainer at the National Air and Space Museum's How Things Fly Gallery. And today I'm going to talk to you about lift. I'm standing in front of the Spirit of St. Louis airplane. It was flown in 1927 by Charles Lindbergh, and it was the first successful solo flight over the Atlantic Ocean. Now, how was this plane able to generate lift? How was it able to stay in the air? Now, I can explain that using this airfoil here. An airfoil is like a cutout or a cross section of a wing. So if I were to take a wing and slice it into pieces like a loaf of bread, this would be one slice of the wing. Now, if we compare this airfoil to the Spirit of St. Louis, we'll notice they have very similar shapes. They have curved tops and flat bottoms. An airplane's wing will be shaped this way because of something called Bernoulli's principle. Daniel Bernoulli was a Swiss mathematician who studied the movement of fluids like air and water. And he realized that a faster moving fluid will have a lower pressure, while a slower moving fluid has a higher pressure. Now let's apply this to our airfoil or to a wing, so that when the plane starts flying and air hits the wing, you're going to get faster moving air on top. It's going to speed up because of the curve. At the bottom, where it's flat, you're going to have a slower moving air. It's not going to be as fast as the air on top. That slower air is high air pressure, and the faster air is low air pressure. That high air pressure pushes up on the airfoil or up on the wing, and that's why something as heavy as an airplane can fly. Don't believe me? Well, I have an experiment we all can try at home with a single sheet of paper. If I were to place this paper beneath my lips and blow, would it go up or would it go down? Let's see what happens. We notice that the paper goes up. And the reason why is because of Bernoulli's principle. When I blew my fast air on top of the sheet of paper, it was a lower pressure than all of the air in the room, because the air in the room is slower than the air that I was blowing. So that high air pressure works from beneath and it pushes up on our sheet of paper. And the same thing is happening to an airplane's wing. And that's why something as heavy as an airplane, like the Spirit of St. Louis, is able to generate lift.
Okay, did that come through all right? Dan, you there? Did that come through all right? Do I need
Yeah, muted. Yep. No, that was perfect. Let me do one on the nature. This is boop, boop. Oh, this is a both one. So this is cool. This is air design with why aren't you there? Not there. Wait a minute. Share this thing. Let's see if we get there. There we go. So do you see that?
share the screen. Yep.
Okay, it's there. So we'll
Oh, cool.
yeah, I knew you'd love this one. And tell me if we get volume.
Yeah, yep.
That, is incredible. You see, and it looks like a falcon, one of the faster birds. And it's like, okay, you as a scientist and the engineering principles, I love the design. It was easy. Look how easy that plane was designed by watching a bird that just happened by undirected.
Well, I wouldn't say there's anything easy about designing that thing, but yeah, they found that the best lifting body that they could use for that specific vehicle was found in nature, was already made by design. So they just essentially copied it in a way and made adjustments where they needed to for um, what they needed the vehicle to accomplish and do.
Yeah, so and that's where here on my show, I just give that is just straight evidence. That is what you showed, what I set up there. It's just evidence. It's just stuff we see. Then we want to, as scientists, figure out what's the cause. What's the best explanation that could cause that? And we really have two choices. One is designed, one is not designed. And to me, again, as a designer, what do we do to figure out, what do we do to have that happen over long, deep time? Look at that, pictures here. I'm getting tired of that. I like the people over there, but yeah, get some face behind this, the insanity behind what you guys are having to hear. So, what could cause that? We have and what inspired this, you were talking about the how could hollow bones, because we know birds are hollow boned. We're told they science will tell us, not people, not scientists, but science tells us that that the birds were evolved through dinosaurs. And it'd be the small dinosaurs, not the T-Rexers, but still it's like, how do we do this as an engineer, Richard? How do we design? How do we get the design, the blueprints are in the DNA. How do we get those to go from, and this is totally animation, this is like nature's AI. It's somehow we have to get it designed in there, and then we have to change from solid bones, which aren't good for flight. That's why the little planes, they're out of the little balsa wood, very light wood back in the day. Now they're light plastic or styrofoam, something that's light now. But how do we do that without an intelligent designer?
Yeah,
And
how do you
that's
go
a
from solid bones as a dinosaur into hollow bones as a bird to be able to get lift? I mean, did they all die for millions of years before one of them figured out?
well,
It
as you
just
were talking about the wings. Uh-oh, did we do that one yet? Do you have one that shows the wings have to be in a? Oh no, that was just the lift
well,
one.
that was the
Do you want
first one on lift. Yeah, I've got um, a few animations. Let me pull those up. I'll try to talk some
to? Yeah, let's do
commentary
another
over 'em.
one because it's got to be easy. There has to be an easy because this is something that's done without intelligence. And sorry, they're on Theories of Creation channel. He's trying to pretend I'm the smart guy, but he's the smart guy. I brought him in to be able to help me figure out how we design these things because I want to build one from scratch. No, we're not going to take the materials. We're not going to create those. Not there yet. Creating stuff out of non-stuff. So, but we do want to take what we've already got. We got all the building blocks. And Richard, you're going to help me build a bird, build a trilobite. I don't care if we build a maggot. Let's build something because we're smart. We're smarter than undirected natural causes, correct? We have
Yeah, a
intelligence.
big part of me is hoping that I don't, know, end up with the knowledge how to create life from scratch because that would be completely abused. It falls into the wrong hands, and that's just my personal humble opinion. But
What could go
um,
wrong? They learned how to split the atom. What could that was such a great thing to figure out to advance life on this planet. How could it go wrong splitting an atom? Come on now. The
yeah,
power we
adding a bunch
had.
of energy to anything becomes destructive. You think they would know that first, but that was their plan, wasn't it?
But you'd have to think, but it's not evil because there's no such thing as evil, and there's no such thing as good and evil. That's just constructs of our chemically created brains, right? Right? Isn't it that true? So you and I, we have a problem with them splitting the apple, so they apple. After they bit the apple, but splitting the atom and destroying tons of people. They didn't even know if it was going to destroy everything when they tested it. There was anyway, but man's not evil. Men are all good. People are all good. Women are sugar and spice and everything nice. So crank that one up. Oh yeah, we got another exciting show coming up from Justin. And so we got to get out of here quick. Probably won't have, you can do questions. I'll look at questions. We probably won't do questions today because, or an open panel, we'll do questions because we got to get out of here.
Well, let me run through these four animations I made. Let me see how I can get them to play here. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Whoop, that's not what I'm looking for. I had it pulled up and then I closed it. Okay, there it is. No, I learned how to use my own stupid computer. This might be a little easier. Okay, here we go. So this is a simulator called Kerbal Space Program. It's arguably my favorite pastime. Basically, you take a bunch of parts, throw it together, and you have real aerodynamic, real orbital mechanics built into the thing. This is just a basic little aircraft that you make. And wait, I need to share the screen, don't I? I got to do that first, don't I? Yeah.
Yep. I'll tell you when it pops on because it puts
There
you
you go,
back
share it.
up.
Is it on?
There we go.
Okay. All right. So this is just a basic little thrown together aircraft, right? Nothing special. Now, what I wanted to show is the stability of flight. So if you notice the the little yellow ball and the blue ball there, and you see the blue arrow, it's positioned just behind the center of that yellow ball. The yellow ball represents the center of mass of this aircraft, and the little blue ball represents the center of lift. You're getting the lift from the wings in the front and then the small tail fins in the back. Right now, just in this example, real quick. Okay, you can show what I'm showing you there is how I'm going to adjust it later on, moving the center of lift forward and backwards of the center of mass, right? And I'm just going to fly this real quick and just show you how stable it is. And then I'll show two examples of how unstable the craft can be when you put that center of lift in a different position. My computer's slow, so it takes a little bit to load.
Oh, that's good. I thought it was my brain because it's like black. There we go. It's like, uh-oh.
Just look
I
at
was
the
wrong.
icon on the bottom right.
There you go.
So basically, if you look at this nav ball where my mouse pointer is, it's accelerating in meters per second. At 50 meters per second, I'm going to rotate out. I'll do that for every single one. This just simply rotated, just simply perfectly flies, perfectly stable. I'm not adjusting anything on the control stick, and it's just cruising around. I'm going to do some turns and maneuvers just to show you real quickly how easy the thing cruises around. My processor's pretty slow, and okay, yeah, it's pretty choppy because of the internet connection, I'm assuming. But I wish I had a better computer to run this so you could see it. Anyway, we'll just skip to the next one here. Okay, let me pull up the next one.
That was awesome. My daughter and I did a flight school and then flew, and just a little Cessna plane, but
Always wanted to do that, man. I was actually contemplating a career as a professional pilot at one point, and then I investigated how much it would cost and kind
yeah.
of stayed away from it. Didn't really have the money. This one, okay. So let me know when you got this one up.
Watching.
It's the same aircraft. I'm basically just going to show you how I adjust the position of the center lift and show you the differences and how the stability changes. Basically, I'm just going to move it back a lot farther.
I don't see any problem with that. That's what evolution would have done.
Right.
Although it would have taken multiple changes over.
I don't know if I need to show all four. It's taking a sweet time to load. I didn't do any editing to this to kind of speed it up. I didn't really have the time to do that. But this is just moving the center of lift back further. It's still going to be relatively stable, but not as stable as it is. And same thing at 50 meters per second. I'm going to rotate out. And right now I'm full back on the stick, and it is not taking off like the other one did. As a matter of fact, it takes at least twice the speed to barely get off the ground and make its adjustment. That's just for moving the center of lift back further. And this whole time, just to keep it level, I have to keep the tail fin pointed up. Basically, I have to have the stick pulled all the way back just to maintain a level flight. All right, so I'm going to close that one out. Stop sharing that one. I'll open the next one. Let's see here. Okay, you get this set up. Pause this one. Go back over and share it here. Share screen window. Okay. You see it going?
Oops, sorry. It started.
Started? Okay. Basically,
Oh, wait
back
a
in
minute.
the.
People.
What?
Go ahead.
Good. All right, going back to airplane here. Clicking on the wings here again.
Hi, Carrie. Hello? Hello. Where you guys?
You know what? For time, we're going to skip this one. This basically.
We're COA already.
Let me skip this one. We'll switch it over to the next one. That just I'm taking it even further back in. That one basically shows that it won't even come up off of the runway. Here, let me go back to this one. Front. Okay, that's what we need right there. Let me go over share this one again. Share.
If you guys want to.
I do have a point about all these, but I'm going to wait till the end.
Kind of
Yeah,
then
we can
chance,
show you.
You're guiding it, but we pretend there's no direction,
All right.
and you would have to have first evolved the wing structure, and we know the breathing structure is different in birds, so you would have had to have done that first, and then you've got to imagine that both of those things are not good for ground loving animals. So let's see what this one does.
All right.
By chance,
So-
not chance, undirected, these wings happen to be placed farther up. Let's see.
Yeah, that's the normal position. I'm going to take the center of lift and slide it all the way forward on the aircraft compared to the center of mass, as far forward as I could get it. I probably should have slid the tail fins forward a little bit, but no, this isn't extremely far forward. It's still somewhat balanced, but its overall center of lift is, forward of the center of mass. It would be easier to really understand how unstable it is if you could actually, operate the controls and feel how you need to struggle to really get it to do anything. Let's see here. I didn't write a script, so I'm going to try the same thing. I rotate out at 50 meters per second.
That's okay. If you did a script, Claude would not think it's my
That's
show.
right. Yeah, that blooper reel. Hold on, let me skip it forward. I'm going to restart that. Launch there. Just rotated out and the engine blew up. Yeah, this thing's slow. Let me skip it forward here. Okay, here we go. Okay, start to rotate out. And basically, I have to push the stick all the way forward. And naturally, it's wanting to pull up and flip all the way around. It cannot continue in a level flight. The position of lift will fight against itself, and it'll make itself rotate against itself and just flip over completely upside down. Yeah, that is way too laggy for running both these computers. Um, but anyway, I guess the point that I was trying to make is that the design of a bird's wing compared to its body mass is set up perfectly for stable flight. How over millions and millions of years there are no um, transitional fossils that show difference in position of wing compared to body mass? How did the bird evolve lighter bone structure in order to lighten its weight? How did it involve a wing which generates lift? And how did it evolve the wing in the perfect position to its center of mass in order to be stable flying through the air? All that screams design. And every single bird shares that same principle. Granted, some birds with the longer neck, as they fly, you can see that their neck is tucked in, and they do that because it makes them more stable, through the air. Um,
No, exactly. And there are laws of nature that birds fall under. And I just had a question though. Well, Claude, he wondered he blows air after hot curry, and I just wondered if he gets lift off of that. Just question. Um, he said he's a little guy, so maybe he's light enough, and he might have hollow bones that and a different breathing mechanism that he could actually get lift off the ground. But that I don't know. He'll have to answer us on that one. Um, but I have another one. On let's get this up here. So that was human dies showing how the aerodynamic, all that good stuff. Why is it not sharing? Oh, I know what I did. So this one's cool. This is it's cool if I can get it up here. It keeps is on one of our faster creatures. And oh, no wonder I said cancel. Check this one out. And so we got to figure out the plane, like Claude was right. Planes were designed. And so
so were birds.
our thing is that where the birds are more. Okay, how come we're not getting up there? Okay, when I show it, let's see if this works. You guys are so patient and you're just so excited to see this. Let me get back to
all right, it's on screen.
It's on screen. Where do you get it? Oh, there we go. Get it big. There we go. Get some. There we go. Boom. You can't even see that. 240 miles an hour. And how come you guys don't have sound, do you?
No.
Evolution placed small bony structures called tubes in the peregrine falcon reached 240 miles per hour in a dive, faster than a Formula One car, while most birds would be killed by the air pressure alone. The answer is hidden inside its nose. Evolution.
There's a lot of things that, and I think a lot of evolutionists, especially atheists, hide some stuff up in their nose. It's a white powder, but to actually, that's a joke, Claude, and that's just for Claude. Claude will get my joke. Everybody else is an atheist. Just ignore that. Anyway, so it's hidden in the nose. Evolution hides things like the Easter Bunny. That's probably why society, we went for an all materialistic, naturalistic explanations for things without a designer creator. That's probably why they came up with the Easter Bunny, because the Easter Bunny hides things, and so does evolution.
Placed small bony structures called tubercles inside the falcon's nostril.
Now, wait a minute. Did I stop in the wrong place? Did it say evolution placed the bones? Let's see.
Yeah.
Called tubercles inside the falcon's nostril alone. The answer is hidden inside its nose. Evolution placed small bony structures called tubercles inside the falcon's nostrils. When air rushes in at terminal velocity, these structures force it into a controlled.
Okay, so come on, guys. If you're going to play godless, undesigned, don't you guys, Claude? Where's your comments on a thing like this? Is like you are playing into creationist language. Evolution placed nothing. Come on, guys. By a chance mutation inside this bird, someplace that mutated right, bones got into the design structure of the DNA, and then the little protein guys read it, developed it, and it's like evolution didn't do anything. Evolution. Oh, come on, guys. Let's not talk like you're creationists, because actually, and you know, Richard, dirty little secret, the reason evolutionists talk like that things are designed and da da da, is because that's what it looks like. The evidence points to that.
Spiral, slowing the pressure before it reaches the lungs. Engineers
So, with that speed, it would blow out the little dude's lungs. So evolution was smart enough. Now, did the speed come because it also is body design? Other birds, they can't get that fast because they're not designed that way. But this, did the design for the speed happen? And then how many of them died before evolution placed those bones in there?
And we use the same type of design on the SR-71 Blackbird.
We've designed blackbirds? Oh man, I wanted to do that first. Do they have the red wing blackbird, or is it just the... I know what you're talking about. Okay.
at NASA later discovered that jet engines use an identical principle to manage intake airflow. The bird solved it first by millions of years.
Okay. Again,
By
did
millions
the bird solve anything? That is forethought. That is design. Why do you evolutionists keep, to be fair, I've asked them and they go, oh, well, that's just an easy language to understand. Okay, I'm not that bright, but I can understand that is a creationist, that's a foresight, that's a planned language. And you guys then are lying, because isn't it just as easy, Richard, if there's no God, no design? So over time, by
Yeah, it's
chance,
convenient to say millions of years because you know that you can't go back and disprove them wrong.
no, not that part of it. I'm talking, they're using foresight type of language. Well, the bird figured out how to do it. The bird planned this. The bird does this. Evolution did this. No, that's all foresight. And if scientists who are supposed to be doctors and smart are so stupid that they can't come up with scientific language, that's part of my problem with godless science, because it sounds like it's created by an evil force. Because why would you say evolution did anything planning? It just happens. And are they too stupid? The Big Bang. And we say, well, the bang this, and they go, oh, well, it's not really
possible.
a bang. It's not really a bang. It's a great expansion. Well, why don't you say that? Oh, because the first guy wanted to be simple language. Because he was a simple nitwit that was led by Satan. Is that what it was? I'm not that bright, but that's why I try to always use great expansion, because that's what the scientists say science is saying. Let's finish this one. But yeah, guys, be true.
But the speed is still not even the most remarkable part. When it strikes, it does not grab its prey, it punches it, a single closed fist at full velocity, then circles back and catches the falling body before it hits the ground. The fastest animal on Earth hunts with a right hook. What would you want engineered from an animal's biology if scientists gave you the choice? Comment below. Why?
How about those eyes? Engineer the eyes, please.
No, that just happened by chance too. So, but again, and Claude will probably say it was bad design because the feathers are white. I don't know, because evolutionists will say, well, you've pointed out tons of great design things, but you know, it only has 2 feet. If it was a good design, it wouldn't need the fist. It would have had a little retractor that, and grabbed it out of the air. So it's always people trying to know what foresight a designer actually designed something for. And to say like space shuttle, I think we said that before, where the one crashed and burned because of the panels. weren't that well designed. So you go, well, that was not designed.
No,
The
that's not.
space shuttle happened by chance because there was a thing. The panels were badly designed, so it can't be designed.
Well, it was one mistake learned in the space shuttle. A piece of foam came off the hydrogen tank at supersonic speeds and collided with the front edge of the wing, which is just a carbon-carbon composite or whatever, and punched a hole in it. They didn't realize it until it was too late. But
that was a bad design, though.
yeah,
So
we're not making space planes anymore. Well,
but no, it's no. The issue is they say that a giraffe is not designed because out of all last week, all that great design principles, they think there's a bad design, so the whole thing's not designed. Okay, let's take that to the space shuttle. That the whole thing then was not designed because that little piece of foam could have taken it out. That's a bad design.
yeah, I mean, going back to that giraffe thing, I realized this after the broadcast ended. So, in response to what we were saying about the neck, how it had the chambers to help keep the blood pressure optimal for the brain, instead of talking about that obvious design structure, they completely turn your attention away from that, just this one little thing that they could say, oh, this is evidence for a bad designer, instead of looking at all of the evidence that showed, it must have been designed and couldn't have evolved.
Correct. And so, but again, that's why we're here. Nobody is flawless here, not even Claude, and especially not us. And so when you're looking at that, we have to see both sides. And so let's stop that volume.
Do I have time to share one more?
Sure. I think
it is 5 minutes long.
It again, except you cannot.
I don't know how much time we got before we got to go, but this is a 5-minute video I found on the world's longest nonstop flight. A bird that.
Oh yes, I've seen that one before. Go for it.
Let me share it real quick. Jason could probably wait another 15 minutes or something, can he?
Haha. He's already waited. What? My time says it's 9:38. What the heck? What time zone is that? Because
that's Eastern time zone. Is this screen up?
It is.
Gonna play.
So I don't know what exact time it is. I'll have to go over here to my phone. Maybe it took 8 hours, maybe it took 24, maybe it took 5 days. You probably took some breaks, if only to grab something to eat, use the bathroom. Now imagine it again, except you cannot stop, and there are no snacks. Also, your body is the car, so you absolutely do not have space for any baggage. Oh, and the road trip is now 9 full days and nights long. And all your digestive organs literally shrunk to prepare you for this.
Bar-tailed godwit.
That is life for at least one subspecies of shorebird known as the bar-tailed godwit. There are at least 4, and maybe even 5 or 6 different subspecies of bar-tailed godwits, depending on which ornithologists you ask. These groups are split up by where they breed, where they migrate, and by slight differences in how they look. Bar-tailed godwits can be found all across the Arctic in the summer months of the northern hemisphere, from Alaska to Siberia, Northern Europe. They breed in the dry spots of swamps, bogs, and marshes, as well as wetlands and river valleys, basically near wet places across the tundra. And they feed on things like crustaceans, annelid worms, bugs, and bivalves, which they find by sticking their long beaks into the mud. Another thing they all have in common is that they fly south for the winter. They spend their time in habitats like tidal mudflats, estuaries, and coastlines. But how far south they go depends on the subspecies. The European bar-tailed godwit breeds around the White Sea and in northern Scandinavia, and it only migrates 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers to the North Sea for winter, which still counts as a long-distance migration, even though it's shorter than the distance your average Canada goose flies. But the Bowerii subspecies of bar-tailed godwit goes much, much farther. One leg of their migration is the longest non-stop flight in bird. They breed in Alaska, and then they fly something like 11,690 kilometers over the Pacific Ocean
7,200 miles.
to New Zealand, often without stopping. No rest, no food, just 8 to 10 days of continuous flapping. And if they get blown off course, like one male did in the 2021 migration and have to make an emergency landing in Australia, that adds even more distance to their trip. Now, their return journeys are a little easier since they stop over in China on the way back to Alaska, but the whole trip is more than 30,000 kilometers, and they do this every year. Now, why they do this incredible annual feat is a relatively easy question to answer. They hate winter. Only kidding. Species that typically leaves Alaska in September and October, trading the northern hemisphere's fall and winter for the southern hemisphere's spring and summer. Not having to deal with bad weather is an obvious benefit for the birds, and both their winter and summer homes are.
Can you stop that for a second, Richard? Okay, so get this, and seriously, and he joked a little bit, but seriously, they are escaping winter. Obvious reason. How did they know that 7,000 miles away is summer? It's a bird. The brain. I got more brains than that bird does, and so
even if you say like, oh, it learned it from its parents, how did the parent learn it? You know, how did the first bird learn it?
So again, this is where the cause for this evidence, a bird that hangs out up in the highest north, that flies 7,000 miles, and this one, like I said, one was off track and went to Australia, and then still wanted to go to New Zealand. Come on, guys. The cause of this is the magic Darwin in the sky. Again,
I like that.
Because we don't believe in a magic man in the sky. We believe in.
At the end of the video, they even admit that they don't have a clue from an evolutionary point of view how it happens.
Of course not, because this is just evidence. The evidence is that there was design intelligence behind it, or it happened without design, which is kind of a chance. And then good, we have evolution, evidence for God's design. Exactly. Okay, keep going. This is fun.
Oh, well, I already closed it down since we.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So what time is it? Hello, Big Bad Mama.
9:45. Want to answer some questions or?
Yeah. So we got 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Just because you guys have trouble learning doesn't mean. Oh, this is great. How come I can't get out of there? Get.
I mean, animals do as well. See, the funny thing is, you can take an atheist and show him evidence for God, and he won't see it. It's like taking him out in the middle of a clear day, telling him to look up, and showing him a blue sky. If he believes that the sky is red, and he looks up and sees a blue sky, his first thought is going to be, maybe I'm going colorblind. You know, that's just the way their mind works.
Well, and here is and thank you, Claude, because that's why I like Claude around. Because listen to that statement. Oh, how come there you go. I've got stuff in the way right now. I have no clue why. Is that like push that button? Maybe that does it. Just because you and me and creationists have trouble learning doesn't mean animals do too. So Claude is saying, and this is from a evolutionary point of view, that animals learned how to fly 7,000 miles to escape the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, how does it guide itself 7,000 miles over the ocean?
How did it learn that? So Claude hasn't learned that is an irrational statement. Well, let's see. Oh, Big Bad Mama's here.
Does it have a compass in its pocket? Little GPS system or something?
Let's see. Let's show. Welcome, Big Bad Mama. He's smarter, so hopefully he'll help Claude out. And nothing. Can you read that? Oh no, I can read this one. Sinosauropteryx prima was a dinosaur covered with primitive feathers, but structurally similar to and there's something in the way of that in feathered dinosaurs. How does that happen? So our I don't know the specifics on that guy, but I know that you know
Similar
tails
design.
form on. Yeah, it's there's differing reasons, but to then take that and say then birds developed because some dinosaurs had the same thing, that lizards had, and so do horses. So horses came from lizards,
No, they
and
all came
so
from a sea sponge. You didn't know that?
that is true. They came from something. So though that is an evidence, Big Bad Mama. And so, but is that along with the ponderance of multitudes of evidences show that still that there's design intelligence behind it, or everything happened without design, without intelligence? And so here's a good one for Claude. And again, Claude, you're seeing the things we as designers here, as engineers, as scientists, we want to know not what they have, but why do they have it, and what is the best cause? Birds sense magnetic fields.
I would love to see the
Okay.
scientific study on that. But how did it
Well,
get
they
that
actually
sensory perception?
that is the key, is how do we design it, how do we make it, how do we reproduce it? Because they say that the sea turtles have the same thing, is that there's a sea turtle that takes off from Central America or lower Mexico, swims hundreds or 1,000 miles to some island range or islands, and hang out there, and then they come back to have their eggs, or vice versa. And it's like, okay, and they say it's because they're underwater. They have no, they can have said before that the birds can tell the stars or something like that, but they do think now it's some kind of magnetic field they're feeling. And that then, so does this mean that those birds and the turtles are actually one came from, and not them because that's modern animals, but the forerunner of the turtle? And why do they have the same sensory as a bird? Could it just be a design feature? The planes you showed, and the planes we see have seats, and so do cars, so do bicycles. Is that something, if it was in nature and we see that, could it be that in nature we see design features that are the same? Could that be that it's a design feature and not because of godless evolution? Just a question. I hear, and you, Richard, think that evidence shows better that the cause was an intelligence, was a designer. And how much time we have? And that's a great question. That's why I love Big Bad Mama. He makes me think.
About 10 minutes.
Claude gives me humor, and Big Bad Mama makes me think. They are. I know I called them the Three Stooges before, but Big Bad Mama's the smart one. Birds can detect the Earth's magnetic field, allowing them to sense direction, often using magnetic. Oh God, it's covered up here. Okay.
In their beaks, or specialized proteins, cryptochromes in their eyes that may allow them to.
Correct, yeah, but again, that we're designers here, Big Bad Mama. So we don't want to know what they have
before they evolve the magnetites.
Yeah, is how do you, from mistakes or mutations in a DNA system. Because again, Big Bad Mama, the problem, and you guys aren't wrapping your mind around it, is that the proteins are what are in our DNA, are in the DNA. The plans to create proteins are in there. Well, to read the DNA, it takes proteins. To take that information and reproduce the DNA, because it's always being made again and done, is that then you have more proteins that actually rebuild, edit the DNA, and then different proteins are going to be the ones that make the proteins that would do this awesome thing of figuring out the magnetics and being sensitive to it. So you see our problem, Big Bad Mama, is that you can tell us just those stories. Again, it's the magic man in the sky, and it's not the God, it's the ungod, because evolution is magic, because it doesn't happen. You're seeing that you've got to, and at least I would hope you would at least know your problem, that how can you get any protein structure, any structure, when the DNA, you have it, and then you have the epigenetics. Why don't we have 1,000 fingers? Because there's stop codings called epigenetics above the DNA, above the genetics, that will only allow so many 10 or 8 fingers on 4 fingers. Yeah, you guys know what I said. And sometimes there's a malfunction and there's not enough connection in the brain, like your host here, to be able to communicate well with you guys, to tell you've got a problem. The best cause for something figuring out a bird's change or a turtle or whatever, radar and bats, the best explanation for our universal knowledge in mankind, it only comes from minds and designs. It doesn't happen by undirected, and then it is a chance. I'm sorry, I was told it's not a chance, but it's chance. If a bird doesn't and is not able to detect magnetic forces, and there's no design, there's no intelligence, and then if a bird does develop it, it's by chance. It's either directed or not directed, and if it's not directed, it's a chance. Sorry, I don't know how to explain it anymore. Okay, go ahead, Richard. What are you saying?
I just wanted to respond to Lena had this comment. She said it's intelligent evolution. Yeah, God didn't use evolution to create anything. It didn't take him millions of years to put the earth together, and to show that, he would need evolution to create human beings to show that he is wasteful, isn't omnipotent like he says he is. Evolution is just a fairy tale created by Satan that has been bought and eaten up hook, line, and sinker for like the last 100 years or so, even less.
But it would still need evidence. So whether it's a god doing it or godless, undirected, you'd still have to have the little machines to do it, the little processes. We don't have those. Nowhere out there is there. And because like Big Bad Mama said, there's these little proteins. That's what they think they're doing it. In that falcon, there are bones in their nose that keep it from blowing its little lungs out when it's going 240 miles an hour. But there's no process except for undirected mutations, which is really a chance, because there's no, mutations only happen in certain areas of the genome, but it still is a chance that it would happen undirected, unguided. That's lottery, people. Oh, Justin, I thought we had a few more minutes. Sorry. Now I'm doing that. I got a message. We're going to have to close out. Justin is going to do one. And Justin, you should have come on and tell me we didn't have time left. So thanks so much, guys. We'll continue this next week because we didn't get through. The evolution is for the birds because you guys don't have it. You really, and please, you guys, it's coming next week. Give us the process. Give us how these mutations, and there's thousands of them, trillions of throughout all creatures. But just think one creature, guys, one creature, the falcon, trace him back.
Next week, we're going to discuss how the chicken evolved the ability to taste so good with barbecue sauce.
Oh, I'm going to go do that this week. Anyway, everybody coming out. Yeah, Justin. All right. Thanks so much. I'm going to go. Listen, you want to pray us out there?
Yeah. Lord, thank you for this ministry. Thank you for this opportunity to expand my mind, and thank you for these people to help challenge my mind, God, and give us your grace, Lord. I pray for Justin's show, Lord. Give him an open mind and give him a heart for you, God. Bless these people and these listeners in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
And thank you. And thank you, Luna. Thank you, Big Bad Mama, Claude, and everybody else. I really love you guys. And it is fun. I hope you guys have fun too. And, sorry, Lena. I have a lot of sarcasm, as you see. All right, there's our exit.